Hello Year 8. Today we're going on with sketching using a table of values. So a large portion of this topic is about sketching straight lines, and we're going to use a few different techniques to do that. Today we're learning the first technique, which is using a table of values to help us. So you can see the tables that we're going to use here. So the table of values look like this. So you have an X and a Y down the end here, and we're pretty much always going to use these exact same X values, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. And what we do is we substitute those X values into the equation that we have been given. So our first equation is Y is equal to 3X minus 2. So I have to do one number at a time. The first number I need to do is this -2. It is going to go into that equation and replace the X. Now it's probably easiest to do this on your calculator. So what you want to do is you start with that 3 and you type in what is written there, but replacing the X with the -2. And also remember that if a 3 and an X are next to each other, that you need to put a multiplication sign in. So I'm going to have 3 times by, I'm replacing that X with -2, and then I have a -2 in my equation as well. So I press equals, and that tells me that my first Y value is -8. Okay, now I want to repeat that for -1. I want to put the -1 into where that X is. Now you can retype the whole thing out, or you can use your arrow buttons and just go backwards and replace that -2 with a -1. Press equals, and I get -5. Now, as you can guess, I'm going to substitute the 0 in there. So use the back arrows again, delete the -1, put a 0 in. So it's 3 times 0 minus 2, and that equals -2. Change it now to be a +1. So 3 times 1 minus 2 is 1. And the last one, we want to change it to be a 2. Okay, and we're going to plot that on our Cartesian plane in just a moment, but we're going to do a second graph as well. So while we're at it, we're going to fill in this table. So for the second graph, we have the equation Y equals 4X plus 5. So using our calculator, we need to clear that because we have a new formula that we're substituting into. We want to go 4 times by, again, I'm starting with -2 for my first X value. So 4 times -2, and then the rest of my formula says plus 5 equals. So my first answer is -3. Now we just need to change that -2 for each of the different values we want. So then I want to sub in -1, and I get 1. Then I change it to be a 0. 4 times 0 plus 5 is 5. Then 4 times 1 plus 5 is 9. And the last one is 4 times 2 plus 5 is 13. Okay, now you can see that I've got some grid paper here for you, but there's no Cartesian plane. You need to draw that yourself. So grab your ruler, try and put it in the center as much as possible. The grid is not perfect though, so just try to put it about where the middle is. We draw a big long vertical line, and then we're going to need a horizontal one. Now, normally you put it in the middle, but I'm just looking at that 13. That's quite a high number, so I'm just going to move mine down a little bit to make sure I've got enough room, hopefully, for that 13. Let's put it here. Okay. All right, so draw the arrows on the end. And you want to label the x-axis and the y-axis. So we need some numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. We actually don't need very many x numbers because remember we're only going from -2 through to 2. So I've gone to 4 there. That's more than I need. But my y values, however, get quite large. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, I still didn't have enough room for that 13. Oh well. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, and -8. So for the first graph that I have, back to this top one, A, my first coordinate, now these aren't written as points, instead they're written underneath each other. So x is -2 and y is -8. So on my Cartesian plane, remember x value first, go -2 and then I go down to -8 and I put across. Then the second one is -1 and -5. So x is -1 and I go down to -5. The third one is 0, -2. So 0 is right in the center, -2 underneath. Next one is x is 1, y is 1. So 1 up to 1, put across, and 2, 4. Okay, now the reason this is called linear is because those dots should make a perfect straight line. If you do this and you find that it is not straight, that you've got a bit of a bump in there somewhere, it probably means that you've either one, done some substituting wrong into your table up here, or secondly, you've had some trouble plotting your points. So it means there's a mistake somewhere that you need to fix, because these should all be straight lines. Because we're going to be putting 2 lines on this graph here, we need to label them. So this line has the equation y equals 3x minus 2. So I usually write that on one end of my line. Now let's plot the second one. For the second one, our first point was -2 minus 3. So -2 for the x value, down to -3, put across. The next one is -1 plus 1, -1 plus 1 up here. Next one is 0, 5, then 1, 9, and 2, 13 would be up here somewhere. You can either put a point there, or you could leave it off if you don't think you can get that one nice and accurate. We only really need a few points to get that line. So there it is. Nice and straight line going through. Remember to write the equation on there. So that one is y equals 4x plus 5. Okay, so on the next page, we're going to practice a few more. I think you'll find once you get the hang of filling in your table, the rest of it will hopefully be much easier. So let's get these tables right. Our new equation is y equals 5x plus 1. So we have 5 times by x, but by x is -2. So 5 times -2 plus 1 equals -9. Now we want to put the -1 into there. So it's 5 times -1. So I can delete that and put a -1 plus 1 equals -4. For the next one, 5 times by 0 plus 1 is 1. Then we want 5 times by 1 plus 1, which is 6. And 5 times by 2, plus 1 is 11. Okay, let's fill in the second table. Our second equation is y equals x take away 3. Now, x, there's no number to multiply that by this time. The first thing I want in my calculator is my x value, which is -2. So x is -2. And all I want to do is subtract 3 from that. So it's -2 minus 3 is -5. Then I want to change my x value to -1. So it's -1 minus 3 is -4. Then it's 0, So delete both of those. 0 minus 3 is minus 3. And 1 minus 3 is minus 2. And the last one for 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Okay, now that our tables are filled in, we want to draw up our Cartesian plane. So put a vertical line in the middle and a horizontal line. Oops. Okay, put the arrows on the end. We label the x-axis, we label the y-axis, and we need some numbers on there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's way more than I need. Let's do some y values because they're the ones that get quite big. And some negative ones. Remember, these are on the line. All right. So I'm going to plot my first one in green. My first line is 5x plus 1. So x is minus 2, y is minus 9. Oh, I didn't quite have enough room for that one. Minus 8 was here. Minus 9 would have been one below, but let's just leave that one off since it's off my grid there. Our next one is minus 1, minus 4. So minus 1 down to minus 4 is here. The next one is 0, positive 1 is there. 1, 6, 1 up to 6, and 2 up to 11. Okay, looks nice and straight, so let's put our ruler through that. And draw a lovely straight line. I always like to make my line a little bit longer so that I have room to put my arrows on the end. And I write my equation, y equals 5x plus 1. Okay, I'm going to do my second graph in purple, y equals x take away 3. My first graph is my first point, is minus 2 down to minus 5 down here. Then minus 1, minus 4, oh, that's exactly the same point as I had last time. Then 0, minus 3 is there. 2, negative 1, so 2, sorry, I missed one. 1, negative 2, and 2, negative 1. All right, ruler again, they're looking nice and straight. And a line going through them. Arrow on the end. And writing the equation, that one was y equals x take away 3. Okay, so that is what you are practicing today. So here is your work in exercise 2. Just like I have shown you, fill in the tables and draw up your Cartesian planes for each of the graphs that you have in here.